A warm greeting to everyone present here. This is again Pradeepa going to introduce one of our chief guests of this 3 days faculty development program. I am profusely overjoyed to take the opportunity to introduce our chief guest, Dr. Niveda Martin, who is a fellow colleague, a nice person, a very good friend, an excellent workmate, and a key role player to organize this program. Dr. Niveda Martin is an active and enthusiastic worker who did her UG degree in Pondicherry University and completed her MSc in Holy Cross College, Trichy. Then she did her PhD on a project fellow for UGC major project by Holy Cross College from 2011 to 2013. As per my understanding, she is very much interested in reading and having thirst of updating her knowledge in the very world. She is an erudite scholar, acquired many master degrees such as MBA, MA Christian Studies, MA Sociology, and some more certificate courses. She started her career as a JRF in Holy Cross College, Trichy, and then served in NPR Arts and Science College, PSNA CET Dindikal. Presently, she is working as an assistant professor in our own Arulanandar College. Madam is a passionate researcher in the fields of inventory control, fuzzy mathematics, environmental modeling. Madam is an outstanding academic performer, edited 3 books in the fuzzy environment. The title of the books are A Study on Fuzzy Relational Maps, Green Economics, The Need of the Hour, Evolution of Concentric Fuzzy Hypergraphs. Being an excellent learner, she received David Adisenan Gold Medal in BSc B.Ed and she bagged Gold Medal in MSc at Holy Cross College, Trichy. She was a second rank holder in her MSc Bharatidasan University. In the research side, she got best paper presentation prizes in various colleges. As a resourceful person, she gave 7 invited talks and 5 webinar talks in different colleges and universities all around India. In addition to that, Madam has visited Kuala Lumpur and presented paper in an international conference organized by IRES. For that, she received UGC travel grant support and got Best Presentation Award. Madam is a creative writer, published 80 papers in national and international journals and presented 51 papers in seminars and conferences nationally and internationally. During this lockdown period alone, she has streamed 25 YouTube videos. She is a permanent member and speaker of RSRI and Rest Society of Research International. Madam has international research collaboration in various universities and colleges. But more than these acclaims, she is an extremely decent and nice human being who has helped many people in her lifetime. She has been my good friend and a well-wisher, and I am grateful to introduce such a nice person. With that being said, I welcome Madam to this online faculty development program. Welcome, Madam.
Hello everybody. I'm happy to welcome you all to this video lecture on learning outcomes with a special focus to mathematics. So what is learning outcome is all about? So before going in detail about the learning outcomes, we can see just what is learning. Learning is actually a lifelong process and it takes place at each one's life continuously. But what is learning outcome? So here it has been defined as that it is a statement on expected learner's action on completing a unit of study. So we are taking a class and we try to complete a unit, and now we are expecting the learner to do certain aspects after completing a unit. So what do we expect a learner to do after completion of a unit? So that is actually called as the learning outcome. So why are we focusing on the learning outcomes these days? So why are we are telling something about like an outcome based? And the whole reason is the LOCF. So here the LOCF is standing for Learning Outcome Based Curriculum Framework. And now whenever we talk about the LOCF in higher educational institutions, shortly called as HEI, now we have to know something about the Washington Accord and how come it has a relation with the NBA and then towards UGC and now in higher educational institutions. So an international signatory body, and here we have an accreditation for all the undergraduate academic engineering professional courses. And now it is an agreement between the signatory bodies. And India is being one of it. We have incorporated this outcome-based education into the professional engineering courses. So why do we need so? Suppose I'm here practicing and being an engineer in India. Now I have got an opportunity to move towards abroad. So if I want to work over there, so my qualification should be equivalent to that of an engineer in that particular country. So that equivalence matters a lot. So that's why India has entered into this signatory body here. And now this outcome-based education is being first initially introduced in the engineering colleges, and it has been mainly used one of the criteria for the NBA accreditation. So since 2014, we are hearing the buzzword outcome-based education. And now later in 2018, UGC have also started to incorporate in the name of LOCF, that is the Learning Outcome-Based Curriculum Framework, and mainly it is purpose is for the NAC accreditation. So when NAC comes for the accreditation, it looks into the syllabus, whether it is outcome based or not, how far to what extent particular institutions is in a journey towards this outcome based education. So that's why this LOCF is gaining much more momentum. And also this particular method has a lot of impact on the education of the learners. And that's why all the higher education institutions are in full swing of implementing this LOCF, and they want to establish a strong foundation on it. Now we'll see about the goal of higher education in mathematics. So if you're going to just have a glance or we are going to have a click over this goal of higher education in mathematics, so what comes first? So here the curriculum reformation is very important and it must be based on the LOCF. So once you are going to reform the curriculum based on the LOCF, then automatically the other aspects are going to follow it. So we want to improve the learning environment and of course the enrich the academic resources, the quality of teaching and research, and you want to make the students to get involved in discussions, problem solving, so thinking out of the box. So something like we are going to have a divergence here. So not always you are going to follow the same method of teaching or same environment of teaching and learning. So you're going to provide them a diversification in it. And it is not stopped with that. It go with encouraging the learners and to make use of LOCF to learn mathematics. Even at the distance education, we go with the LOCF here. And always motivating the learners to understand the various concepts of mathematics, keeping in the view of the regional context. So you're going to create an atmosphere where you can go for a space for the research and teach course of mathematics based on CBCS. Okay. So now these are the goals of the higher education mathematics with a special focus to the LOCF, and it is given the very first priority. And what this learning outcome based approach has to do with the curriculum planning here. So once if I'm going to incorporate the LOCF, that is the learning outcomes, then definitely I have to go with the modifications in the prescribed syllabi. And in the teaching learning methodology must have a diversification. And your assessment techniques of students and to the knowledge levels. So here we are going to assess the students But another term is going to come along with that is the knowledge levels. Then what about the learning outcomes of each courses? So whether you want to include any new elective courses or not. So based on the availability of the resources and about the experts, whether you are going to introduce any new courses or not. So once when we are going to incorporate learning outcome based curriculum framework, then automatically these aspects also are covered. And now we are going to say something about the graduate attributes proposed by UGC learning outcome based curriculum framework. So what is this LOCF is insisting why we are in need so? So here what do you mean by the graduate attributes? So once a particular student is completing a BSc Mathematics, a program like that, after the completion of that particular program, that is after completing the BSc Mathematics, what the graduate should possess. So starting from the knowledge to the lifelong learning, we have so many attributes and these attributes must be made to be possessed by the graduates. So this is not a very simple task because entirely 3 years of time the particular student is investing in our institution, and after completion of that particular program we are very much keen whether the student has acquired the disciplinary knowledge and whether he has a communication skill, whether he possesses a critical thinking, so whether he has the skills of problem solving, analytical reasoning, whether he has an interest towards the research. So some of the soft skills like a cooperation and teamwork, the scientific reasoning, whether he has a reflective thinking, whether he has acquired the digital literacy, so whether he can go for a self-directed learning, a multicultural competence, so whether he has a moral ethical awareness, leadership qualities, and whether it is going to help him for a lifelong learning. So all these aspects should be covered within this 3 years of the BSc Mathematics program. And now in LOCF, some terminology we have to know it. So here we'll be using the terms like program, course, educational objectives, and of course outcomes. Whenever I say a program, it refers to a BSc Mathematics. Whenever I say a course, it refers to the papers, what he is going to study in each semester. Maybe an algebra and trigonometry, maybe a real analysis, maybe a complex analysis, or whether he had to go for an operations research. So resource management techniques. So it can be anything. So that things are being referred as the courses. And what I mean by here, the educational objectives. So you know the meaning of the objective. So what is the main purpose it? So what we are going to do? So it must be highly comprehensive in nature and it must be very broad. So outcomes are the later part of it. So now these are the components of LOCF I can say. So we have the program educational objectives, we have the program outcomes, we have the program specific outcomes, we have the course outcomes, and we have the lesson outcomes. So when I say something about the program education objectives, so whenever I say a program, it stands for a BSc, an undergraduate. So we'll have a special focus to the undergraduate program. So what is the ultimate objective of that particular program? So what are the program outcomes? So at the end of the 3 years, what the particular student will be able to do? So that's why you are going to say in about the program outcomes. So when I say the program specific outcomes, it is subjecting to the department. And when I say the course outcomes, it is related to each course. As I said about the algebra and trigonometry, after completing it, what is going to do it? After completing the reanalysis course, what he is able to do? And then what about the lesson outcomes? Here the lesson outcomes is meant by the unit outcomes because in each course we have 5 units. So after each unit, what he is going to do it. So that we call it as a lesson outcome to be more specific. So all the outcomes coming out of each unit together is equivalent to the course outcomes. So when I talk about the individual, I tell it is a lesson outcome. And we are going to move from teacher centric to learner centric. So we are not going to stop with the objectives, but we are going to move on with the outcomes. So that is the difference between your teacher-centric and learner-centric in LOCF environment. I always like to go with a very basic example. So now I have taken a particular course and it is course titled as Algebra and Trigonometry. Suppose you are given the task of reading the syllabus. So what you will do? So you will be taking a structure of it. You will tell to which class it belongs to, what is the semester there, what about the subject code and what the part, whether it is a part 3 or whether it is a non-major elective it is going to be there or it is going to be a light paper. So it depends. So how many hours they are going to allot it and how many credits are there. So these are the general structure. We go with objectives, we go with the content, we go with the books for study and books for reference. So these are the major components of a syllabus. So for each particular course, we start preparing like this. So now, if I'm going to say that you have to prepare a syllabus which is incorporating the LOCF components. So what all the things it will be having here. So now the same thing is there. I have the same class, but I'm not using the word subject, but I'm going to use the word course code here. Rather, no change is there. Maybe the year from which it has been introduced. So it is in the year 2019. So previous it was the year 2018. And now we talk of something about the objectives, content, books for study, books for reference. So no elimination, but only inclusion is there. So what you have included? So you have included newly the course outcomes and what are the teaching and learning methods, and the most important part is the rubrics. So it is a mapping between your course outcomes and program outcomes. And here this is very, very important and this is going to play a very vital role. So now let me just think something about the course content here. Okay, I've taken a course content. I have 5 units are there and I have unequal hours. Okay, I have 16 hours, 20, 16, 20, 18 like that. So altogether I must get the total hours allocated for this particular course. So I go over the different units. So everyone is highly well versed of it. So we go over the inequalities, we go over theory of equations, then we go over the transformation of equations because it is algebra and trigonometry. So I have some trigonometry part also. So I go over the functions, hyperbolic relationships, and how to find a summation of trigonometric series. So many methods are there. So these are very fine. So I have just to put each and every concept in the unit and I have structured it like this. And now we are very well aware of writing the objectives. So objectives though, why do I say that it is from the teacher centric? It is from the teacher point of view. So I say that to make the students recall the concept of inequalities and examine its application. So of course, inequalities is not a very new term for them. So generally they know what is meaning by inequalities. So now I have to make them to recall it and I have to tell them what are the ways it is going to get applied. Then I want to make them to establish the relation between the roots and coefficient. And I want to make them to solve the reciprocal equations. So in the third unit, what is my objective is I want to make them to apply various methods to compute approximate solutions. The fourth one is I want to make them to solve. And fifth one is I want to make them to generate the solutions. So by employing. So generally, no, we won't use the very same words. We have to make each objective look different and distinct from one another. So instead of using the same words, we are just going to use some different words and to make it to look better. So this is what the objectives is. So this is highly from the teacher point of view. And now, this is the new thing what we are going to include. The outcomes. So your intention, your objective is to make them recall the inequalities, you examine their application, fine. So with this objective, you take the class, you complete it. But whether your objectives are fulfilled or not, haven't ever we checked it? But we always give an answer that we conduct an examination and we go for an assessment and we do so. But it is not so. Actually, we have to go with the unit-wise assessment. Are we doing it? So since due to the lack of time we are not doing it, we just go for an overall. So we go for a cumulative aspects, togetherness we see it. So here at the end of the very first unit, so what the particular student will be able to do. So he'll be able to state and apply the different types of inequalities. Because I have different types of inequalities like triangle inequalities. So I do have Cauchy-Schwarz inequality, Weierstrass inequalities, and I have some problems are there. So I'll be giving them the problem without mentioning what inequality is supposed to be used to find a solution to it or to solve it. But now the particular student will be able to state. Suppose if I ask him what is triangular inequality, what is Weierstrass inequality, so he'll be able to state and he'll be able to apply the different types of inequalities in a different context. So here you tell that you'll be able to make them to establish a relationship. So what I'm going to say that he'll be able to explain the relationship between the roots and coefficient. So with the interpretation and solve the reciprocal equation. And equivalently for each objective, so I start writing an outcome. So he'll be able to apply various methods to compute. Okay. So he'll be able to examine and select the suitable method of solving to find the approximate. So when you're having so many methods, no, so he'll be able to examine which method I have to use. And then he'll be selecting the correct method to find the right solution to the problem. And suppose if you want to solve the problems by relating the trigonometry. We'll be using the relation between the trigonometric and hyperbolic functions. So based on that, he'll be able to do the problems. And that's why I'm writing here, he'll be able to relate the functions and solve the problems. And he'll be able to find the solutions to the summation of series by applying the suitable method. So these are the outcomes corresponding to each unit. So now I like to present it like this way, so you can have a comparative analysis between your objectives as well as your outcomes. See, if you're just going to look, the words are the same, but it put in a different form. So it is from the teacher's point of view and it is from the student's point of view. Sometimes your objectives and outcomes, you may feel that it appears to be same, but not so. Because it is at the beginning and it is at the end. So before the commencement of the class, what is your objective? Before you take the class, so what you are intended to do so? And after the end of the class, what the students are able to do so. So this is all you are expected because you are aiming at something. Your objective is to make them to recall and your expected outcome is they will be able to state and apply. And here you are going to find whether your expected is going to meet the reality or not. So that's the ultimate end of this particular game here. What we are going to have with your objectives and outcomes. So whether our expected has met the reality. And the next one here. So the previous slide, I was not having any particular description for the outcomes with respect to the knowledge levels. So even when you're going to see with the learning outcome, with the curriculum planning, no, even I was able to mention one thing, that is they are able to assess the students and the students' knowledge level. So something it's K is actually representing the knowledge. So we want to know about the levels of knowledge. So as higher education, it always focus much on the cognitive domain rather than the other. The cognitive is highly given much importance. Once we go for the higher education, then automatically the cognitive domain is given the more importance. And here we go with some K3 and K4. So what is all about? So here, this is also not a very new to you, but still, it is based on the revised Bloom's taxonomy. And Bloom's taxonomy is not a very new way you are going to apply to your syllabus or question setting or something like that. So Bloom's taxonomy is actually go hand in hand with all those things. But what is the revised Bloom's taxonomy? So really we have 6 levels of knowledge starting from remember to create. So remembrance to creativity, I can say. So look at the levels. It starts from the lower level. So I can say that your K1 and K2 are the lower levels. Your K3, K4 are, you can go for the moderate. On K5, K6 you go for the higher levels. So always we stop the level of knowledge for undergraduate to K4, the analyze part. We are focusing much on the analyze. Maybe you can go till the extent of K4 because once without remembrance you cannot go for understanding, without understanding you cannot go for apply, without applying you cannot go for analyze, without analyzing you cannot go for evaluate, and without reaching evaluation you can never reach the greatest level. I can say the highest level, it is the creativity. So it goes from one step to the another, and it cannot jump from one step to the another like that. So it goes in a process. So now here, when I'm going to focus something on the remembrance and understand, apply, analyze. So now I want to fix my outcomes to the respective levels. So as I said before, all the undergraduate programs, it is better to go and end with the K4, not beyond it. So in all our papers, K4 is the maximum level we are able to reach it. That is for the theoretical papers. Suppose if you are going to go for a project, when you're going to go for a group project, when you're going to assess the students, because in many of the institutions at the undergraduate level, they are given the project for the students. Since autonomous institution, no, they always go for giving a project. Some give a group project, some will go for individual projects, so it depends. So at that time, you can focus on the creativity. Suppose when you go for a lab, a practicals if you're going to have, so what practicals you go for mathematics? Suppose if you're going to have a computer paper as a core paper, and at that time, you can also give an importance to this creativity over there. So now, revised we have seen, but what is the original? But original, no, we start with the knowledge to evaluation. But now, no, we are just going to rechange this knowledge to remembering, and then we are going to go with creating. So we are going to just stop at the synthesis, and we are going to go with the create. So some changes have been made from your original terms and new terms. But we are incorporating the revised Bloom's taxonomy for LOCF in general for the outcome based education. And now, what are the words which is telling you that it belongs to your K1 or K2? So we need some measures, no? We have to tell that to what level it is there. So these are the predominant words which you can use. And these are the words which you can use for all the subjects. And also I can say that for various disciplines also, this is not only subjected to mathematics. These are the quite common words which are going for mostly many disciplines. But you are going to choose a respective word for each and every level. So instead of always go to make the students understand, or will understand, they will solve, they will apply, you can use a better words to give a better look to your outcomes. You can give an enrichment to your outcomes and make it more meaningful. So what exactly you want the students to do so? So that is very important, no? And what exactly the students will be able to do. So it depends. And here for K1 and K2 or K3 and K4, we have so many words are there. And some of the words are quite repeated. So in what context you are making them to do it. So that is very important. So evaluate, and for creative also it is there. So here the creative designing, you go for combine, compose, construct. So whether if you're making the student to construct a model, or whether you're going to go for a construct any other aspects or a project work you're going to give. So you can take them to the creative. So it all depends on you. So here the course teacher is going to play a very, very vital role. So now I'll move on with a sequence and series. Okay, so this is a particular course here, and now this is going to be an objectives. So what are the objectives? So to comprehend the fundamental principles and concepts of sequences. So acquire profound knowledge on limits and Cauchy sequence. Analyze the nature of the series. You apply different kinds of tests of convergence for series. You use various tests of convergence of series of arbitrary terms. Okay. So you have written some objectives. So what you are intended to do so. So what the students will be able to do. So here I say that they'll be able to explain the definition of the fundamental concepts of the sequences with examples. So what are the fundamental concepts of sequences there? So they'll be able to explain the definition with the examples. So it is like they're able to give some illustration, no, for each and everything. So when you go with this one, then it comes to the K2 level. So whenever you are able to give some illustrations or able to give some examples, and whenever you are going to give an explanation, it comes under your K2. And you find the limit, you illustrate the nature. So again K2. But now you go for the analyzing the nature. So after applying the test, he goes for the analyzing part. And he applied the different kinds of tests. So it is K3. Whenever he goes for the application level, it is K3. So whenever he goes for the using, again he applies it. So it is again K3. So this is how you are going to do it. So now you may ask a question. It is following K2, K2, K4, K3 and K3. How is it possible? So is that you want to start with the K1, K2, K3? Is it going to go with an order? Not so. Say in mathematics, each and every unit, what do we have? Maximum we deal with the problems. Except the pure papers, no? We have only problematic papers. We solve the papers and then we just go with that. So generally, many of the papers, no, or many of the courses are actually go with the K3. So without the remembering, without understanding, we are not going to apply. So without applying, you are not going to analyze. So when I say the knowledge level, when I say K2, it means that it includes K1 also. When I say K4, it includes K1, K2, K3. So up to that level. So that is very much important here. So this is the way we are going to write the course outcomes, and this is the way we are going to fix the knowledge level. And you may have another question. So is mean that we have to go for K4 or you must go for a K3? So you just imagine a non-major elective. So NMI, the Department of Mathematics is offering to other departments. So when our students are coming and taking the mathematics, suppose if that the case is there. So just imagine, will you take to K4 level? So will you go for the K4 or other extent or will enhance the difficulty level? Not so. So we will automatically reduce the intensity or the difficulty level of the course. So we want to make them simple because they are non-major students. You know how they be able to understand so much of mathematical concepts we are thrusting on them. So if you go with the basic statistics, no, or simple fundamental concepts or business mathematics, we always go with the basics. We always go with the knowledge level. We always go with the remembering and understanding. So those lower levels of knowledge we focus much. And then with a few problems we give them. So more applications part we'll be telling them how it is being applied. So there you will be giving them a lot of information about its applications, but you will not focus much on how it is being applied. So not dealing more with the problem. So you will be giving them a general instruction. So I will give the explanation, a description. So the course teacher has the entire freedom to design the level of the course. Now I can say that the level of this entire course is K4 because it is taking the course to the fourth level, which is the maximum level that becomes the level of your course. So the students are able to go with the analyze. So whether they are able to analyze or not. So that is very important here. And I go with another entirely problematic paper. So it is the analytical geometry of 3D and vector calculus. So you have your own objectives. You start with solving and you go with finding the shortest distance. You compute. You apply the knowledge of finding the equation of sphere based on their properties. So you develop their skills of applying the vector differentiation. So look the objectives. So it applies the theorems to multiple integrals. So because why we are so much focusing on writing of the objective is it must tell or reflect about the skills or the attributes what it is intended to do so. So in the old fashion, in the conventional, we cannot simply write, understand, comprehend, apply and end up with that. Let us be a little more specific what you are intended to do so. And so they'll be build the equation of plane and estimate the angle between the planes. So they classify the skew lines and coplanar lines, compute the shorter. Suppose if you are giving some two or three examples, so they'll be able to find whether they are skew, whether they are coplanar lines, so how the skew lines will be there, how the coplanar lines will be there. So how do they construct the equation here? And now I am using the word construct. So here it doesn't mean that they are going to construct the equation of the one with the full of creativity, no. So they are just going to form an equation and then of the various forms. So they employ, and again they apply the fundamental theorems of calculus to find the relation between. So whenever I going to fix the level, I can say the entire level of the course is only K3. That is not going to go beyond it. So this is the way of writing the mathematical learning outcomes. So here in this video lecture, we have seen about what is LOCF and what about the basic structure of a syllabus with LOCF and what is the learning outcomes with a special reference to mathematics and how to write a mathematical learning outcomes and how to fix the respective knowledge based on the revised Bloom's taxonomy. Thank you.